Hello again. It's been a while. I have been on vacation, so I took a little time off, and I'm back now for actually the fall equinox, which will be tomorrow. So whether you're listening to this on the fall equinox, around the fall equinox, just know it still applies to you. It's not just a date and time. Yes, it is in our calendar, but it's also an energy. So keep that in mind. I always look at the equinoxes, the solstices, new moons, full moons, as new beginnings. And frankly, you can look at every day, obviously, as a new beginning. But those are really important to me, the full moons, new moons, the solstices, equinoxes. I try to use it as, gosh, that's so interesting. They just said a regeneration time, right? They just said reflection time. Okay, so that's cool. But what I want to do today is look at this as, again, a new beginning for the rest of the year, because we are accelerating as a collective and we have the steps up. Remember what we talked about in a couple of the last videos: August 8, 8-8, September 9th, 9-9, 10-10, 11-11, 12-12. Oh gosh, I have chills. Okay. Anyway, what they're showing for me, and we've talked about this previously, is steps up as we go through the rest of the months for the rest of the year. And then a very powerful December. Now remember, these are energies, okay? Energies will be reflected in what occurs in our individual journey, but it also will be reflective in the collective, in things that actually are transpiring, things that actually manifest. Now, it's not always a one-to-one correspondence to the actual time frame happening, but it's the energy that's generating that. And remember, manifestation in our, what I'll call 3D world, our human world, takes longer, all right, just because of it's a heavier, denser energy. But we're shifting up into the 4, the 5D. And so as we're working on our spiritual awakening journey, working on ourselves, right, we are able to transcend those lower energies and we start accelerating in our journey, okay? So what we're having happen now is in these months to come, every month is a step up until we get to December, which that's really what they're showing me at this point, is this, they just said launching off period. So this launching off period that we have of the end of the year going into the new year. I can't believe we're talking about a new year already. Where did this one go, right? So just remember, all of these dates, these events are full of opportunity for us, and it's really how we look at them. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a couple of realizations I've had recently since vacation. I've got a couple stories, and we'll just see how this goes. But it all is very much tied to the idea of the fall equinox coming, an opportunity for new understanding, a reflection on where we've been this year, because we're in the last quarter of our year, right? So it's in the of the calendar year, I will say. So that said, as we go through the rest of this calendar year, launching off into a new year, which, remember, what the collective puts energy into becomes real, becomes manifest. So what we want to be able to do is look at ourselves individually, because we roll up into the collective, right? What are we telling ourselves? What is the story we're telling ourselves? What is the story you're telling yourself? What is the prevailing, predominant story in your life that you tell yourself? We may not even understand that we're telling ourselves a story because we've been telling it so long, right? What is that you have been saying over and over to yourself, whether you're actually saying it verbally or not? And some of this may be hard to find. So what I would suggest is going through an exercise of really sitting down and saying to yourself, what do I believe? What is the story I tell myself every single day about myself, right? About myself. Because guess what? That story that we tell ourselves, whether it's individual or collective, and I'm going to talk about a collective example in a minute, that becomes a belief. So we start believing that about ourselves, okay? About ourselves. And then as we create that belief because of the story we keep telling ourselves, guess what? That's what we manifest. That's what we manifest. And then essentially, the more you tell yourself this story, the more you attract that to you. Oftentimes, it'll oppose the desire that you have. It'll oppose the true manifestation that you want to have. It's kind of the, oh, I really would love to have this kind of life, but I can't have that. I can't have that. It's that kind of thinking, all right? So what I really want you to do, because I'm doing this now since I returned from vacation, is really look at that story that you tell yourself each day. Kind of the, oh, woe is me, or oh, this is me and I can never change and be that way. Or, oh, here's a good one. Oh, she or he, they have intuitive gifts. They have the magic. They have channeling. They have energy healing. They have that. I can't do that. No. Yes, you can. So don't create that as a belief, because you're going to block yourself, right? So this is just one example. So the more you say this to yourself, in the example I just gave, a more of an energetic that is behind that commentary to yourself, that belief is then created, and it's actually blocking the desire you have, right? So you can think about this in terms of your life right now. What is it, the story you're telling yourself? Does it line up with what your desires are? And then start reframing that, reframing those words, knowing you can, and then let it go. Let it go. But we really got to look at the stories we're telling ourselves, because we all tell stories, right? So what often can happen is we end up with a belief that is in opposition to what we really want, right? So when I was on vacation, I was up in the Lake Superior area, and an example of a collective belief where the townspeople, to even just some degree, have a belief that's actually manifesting within that town. And it really hit me as I was meeting people who had started to move into this area and help rebuild. They'd vacationed there, they'd seen opportunity, and they've come in. However, we started having conversation about this idea of this little town falling on hard times, losing industry, but to have all this opportunity with wilderness, nature, water, on Lake Superior, huge beaches. It goes on and on, what is surrounding this small town. However, what has occurred, and I had these conversations, was that the trauma created from the loss of the industry, they've told themselves a story of, oh, woe is us. We just need the industry back. We just need the industry back. We just need the industry back. We can't, what can we do without the industry? They are stuck in an energy from the past. They're stuck in their trauma, which is another conversation, but it's part of this idea of what we believe we manifest. So what we've got here is a collective belief. It's not their desire, but it's their belief. And guess what has happened? It is in opposition, as I said, to their desire. They all want to have success, a community that is thriving. I mean, who doesn't, right? And so I got talking to a couple people who had actually come into town and seen all this possibility. So what they're doing is helping rebuild the downtown. Now, granted, this has just started in little teeny pieces, but there are a couple people, and that's a whole other magical story, that are actually there as light workers to help rebuild the community. I probably could have done a video all just on this. But anyway, my point in this right now is talking about belief systems. So what's happened is individuals have been affected by the shift and change in their community over the years. Loss of industry impacted them. They've created a belief within them that no, there's nothing here. Oh my gosh, this is just the way it's going to be. And we are going to continue along this line. We need industry back. So they're living in the past, right? This all lines up, right? This all affects each other. So this idea of creating this belief system based on their experiences from the past now has fairly solidly kept them from their desired state as a community. So it's individual situations that created the belief system that now has rolled up into a collective energy that has not allowed for the desire of growth, of opportunity, of being able to have economic prosperity. So this is just a small example. Now, what I will tell you is that's shifting and changing, but it's because other people have come in and said, whoa, look what you have here. You have every opportunity under the sun. So this is an example of a collective belief. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't people that are in that community that aren't doing things to make it happen, but I'm talking about in general, okay? In general. You feel it when you're there. You feel it, okay? You can just feel it. And it's like they're locked in. It's like they're locked in, but it's shifting and changing. It's going to change. This is just an example of how our individual belief structure can actually then create something within our own communities as a collective, and as we start having those conversations and saying, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We no longer have industry, blah, 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 versus taking what you really truly desire to see in the community and then creating a new belief around that. So today, just take a look at this as an example and kind of reflect on how it is representative, maybe in part, in your own life, in your own belief system. And then you can also look at it, like I did, as how it can affect a larger collective. So I think I will wrap up today. I have 2 other topics that I'm going to share likely over the next week of continued realization from the growth period that I've had most recently that I think will be helpful to you to consider as well. And I hope that at the end of this video, you're going to be able to see some of my video from my trip that has been magical. So what I will say to you is if you're looking for an amazing trip, the Lake Superior region, the coastal region, particularly the western side, which is where we were, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Upper Peninsula, Michigan, is incredible. Take that opportunity to travel. We're going to talk about travel in an upcoming video. I'm also going to talk about time again. We've had that as a topic recently, but I've also had some experience that I think might assist you. So watch for upcoming videos on those topics, as well as, guess what? We're going to have an October energy update pretty soon. So thank you so much for joining me today. As I always do, I will leave you with my website, purplerainhealing.com. You can learn more about me and my journey, but you can also learn about my services that I offer through all the channeled messages that I offer, which is the foundation of everything that I do to offer you assistance in your awakening, life, and ascension journey. I work with you one-on-one. We can do individual sessions. We can do multiple sessions. I also offer energy healing. Whatever it is you'd like to work on, we will cover with you. I channel extensive information for your life journey and help so many of you already continue forward in your journey. So check out my services, purplerainhealing.com. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm back from vacation and getting my act together, and I will see you again in the next video. Thank you.